Hi friends, thank you for tuning in to the Concussion Coach podcast. I am Bethany Lewis, the Concussion Coach. I'm a neurological occupational therapist and certified life coach, and I specialize in guiding people through their concussion recovery journey. I am passionate about helping people understand their injury, speed up their recovery, and reclaim control over their life post-concussion. The purpose of this podcast is to help increase awareness of concussions and the impact they can have on a person's life, and to bring hope to people who have suffered a concussion and those who love them. I firmly believe that sharing stories and knowledge about concussions will bring important light and understanding to this misunderstood and often invisible injury. The information in this podcast is meant to bring that awareness and hope and is not meant as medical advice. The opinions shared are those of the interviewees and my own. If you are suffering with lingering concussion symptoms, I have created a concussion coaching program specifically for you. I will be your mentor to guide you through your recovery journey, offering help with understanding and managing your symptoms, setting achievable goals, and learning how to manage your own thoughts and nervous system in order to get control over your life again. If this program sounds like something that would help you or someone you love, sign up for a free consultation. In the consultation, you'll get valuable information and resources and gain hope for your future. Sign up for your free consultation at the link in the show notes or at my website, www.theconcussioncoach.com. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Concussion Coach podcast. I'm really excited about today's episode because it's going to be very different than my other episodes. And I get to have Kaylee Blair, the fabulous Kaylee, on with us again today. You may remember Kaylee from such episodes as, what was it? We called it Nervous System Say What? I'm not sure. I can put in the show notes which episodes Kaylee has joined us on. But Kaylee was here with us, has been here in the past. And Kaylee and I are both coaches for people with brain injuries, and we both have worked at Cognitive Effects, and we've combined our coaching powers to create a program specifically for people who have completed the program at Cognitive Effects. It's called EPIC treatment, Enhanced Performance in Cognition. That's the treatment that the people get at Cognitive Effects. And so we've created a program specifically for people who've done that and who need some extra support on the other side of it as they're continuing to recover and heal. And so as we've been doing this, we've been going in and doing kind of group coaching sessions for the people who are currently at Cognitive Effects. And we just thought that we've found patterns as we've been doing this for just over a year now. We've seen specific questions that people have that come up as they're thinking about going home and concerned about what the future is going to look like. And so we thought that we would do an episode today to address a lot of those issues. And so this is, our target audience in mind is people who have completed that program, but we really believe that these principles that we're going to be sharing are going to be applicable to everybody, a lot of people, especially those who have done some sort of treatment or are just working on recovery. If you're working on recovery from a concussion, this will be helpful for you. So having said that, thanks for being here, Kaylee. I'm so excited. We're going to have so much fun today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay! It will be great. Okay, so we've come up with just a list of kind of concerns that people have as they're going home. And I have a list here. We'll just kind of go back and forth and chat about them if that's okay. So I was telling Kaylee, we're just going with the flow on this one. So one of the concerns that people often bring up, and one that we make sure that we talk about with the coaching groups that we do, is how to talk to people about their injury and about the treatment that they went through. So do you want to start us off, Kaylee? What do we like to share with people in relation to that?
Yeah. I just want to mention a lot of the things that we have combined together today both come from us, but they also come from people who work at CFX. They also come from the amazing patients that we get to work with at CFX too. So if you're listening in and you're like, hey, I think I might have shared that, then thank you. It's actually helped quite a few people. It's really cool in this community of brain injury survivors, concussions, whatever it is that brought you into that world. It's really cool, the sense of community and help that everybody wants to give. And I feel like you and I both kind of uniquely get an opportunity to see that in a way that not a lot of people do get to. But in other words, if you're feeling alone, you're not alone in feeling alone. And we're gonna get through it. So yes, we had an amazing patient come through who talked about having circles. So she noticed that if it was like her distant neighbor or somebody at the grocery store that knew her and was like, hey, you went and did treatment there, are you like all the way better now? Or if it was somebody that was like in her middle circle of friends, somebody that she could tell something more in detail to, or if it was like in her inner circle of people, her close family and friends. And she would have different responses for each group. So like for the outer circle, it was like maybe a 2-sentence answer. For the middle circle, it was like a paragraph or so. And then the inner circle, however much you want to give. Now, it could be as simple as, well, I guess also take in mind, if you're not feeling well and you're just not up for giving any answer, no matter who they are, then great. That's just where you're at. So you'll say, you know what? Talk to me tomorrow, or I will get back to you on that.
I will get back to you. Yeah.
Yeah. And to keep in mind that the people who tend to ask, how are you, are typically fairly genuine in that. And they just are curious and unsure of how you're doing, really, right? So when it comes to somebody at the grocery store saying something like, yeah, I'm so grateful you asked. It was wonderful to go through that treatment program. And it's like I just gained a bunch of tools and now I get to go home and apply them and continue to heal and progress. Catch you next Thursday at the grocery store. Buy the apples, So if you want to do you want to give like an example of the middle?
Yeah, actually, I want to add another one or two really fast, if that's okay, for the people that you're just like, okay, I'm going to give you a really short and sweet answer. I've heard a couple patients say these, and I thought they were good. One said that it's like they're trained and the treatment got them back on track, but they're not at their destination yet. So they're on the right path, but they're not where they want to be quite yet. So there's still recovery to do. I thought that was a good one. And then somebody else has said that it's, kind of like if you've broken your arm or you've broken a bone, you go in, the doctor sets it, and then you go through recovery still. And so that's kind of what this is. We're at Cognitive FX, we're helping to reset the pathways in the brain. And then there's continued healing and recovery that needs to happen after that. So I like those short and sweet, just kind of, hey, it was really helpful. I've gotten a lot of tools, a lot of information, but I'm not where I need to be yet. Thanks for asking. And then, the middle circle, like the people who you're maybe a little bit closer with and want to give a little bit more details, that you can start with one of those short things and expand on that if you want to. I don't know that we need to necessarily say examples of everyone, but that's kind of, you just give them as much as you're willing and able to. And then, with the inner circles. And I really like the point that you made about if you're not feeling up to telling anybody or to even talking about it, it's okay for you to just say, thanks for asking. Let's talk about it later. I'm not up to talking about it. And I think that brings up a point that I think is really important. And I did a whole episode on this before, but I think it's good to remember that you're not responsible for how other people respond to your injury. It's your experience. If you're not feeling good, if you're not feeling up to talking about it or doing something, you don't need to put pressure on yourself to push yourself past your own limits in order to try to help somebody else not feel uncomfortable. And that doesn't mean we don't care about what other people think or how they're feeling. It's just, you're not responsible for their emotions. You're only responsible for your own. So to protect yourself and get yourself better, if you need to take some time away, it's okay to do that. And you don't need to feel guilty about that. So that's, I think, something that people tend to do. They tend to push themselves more than is good for them because they're concerned about how, they don't want to disappoint somebody or offend somebody. But sometimes people are going to choose to be offended or disappointed no matter what you do. So that's not your responsibility. So anyway, any other thoughts on the circles or how to talk to people about treatment?
Well, there was one other analogy I heard from one of my favorite neuroscientists. They talked about how you can explain it as kind of like a car that has all the lights on. And when you enter treatment, you didn't know how to fix any of the problems. And then you go in for treatment and you get kind of this guidebook, and you now know that if you fix the engine first and then the transmission, right, you know certain things to do now to help, and that now you get to go home and read through the manual and figure out what to do next. And there's been tons of work done while you've been at treatment. And so there are certain lights that are probably turned off now, no longer in emergency mode, and things are shifting and changing at this point. So it's exciting, but still along that journey. That was just another thought I had that potentially could help somebody if they were looking for different ways to explain it.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to kind of go out of order of what we talked about, what the email that I sent you had, because that just brought up the I don't know, for some reason it triggered in my mind that we should talk about people being worried about undoing the good that they did for their brain in treatment there. And just want to reassure all of our friends from Cognitive FX who've gone through the program that overdoing it one day or getting overstimulated, pushing too hard, you're not going to undo the good that you've done for your brain. You've reset things that it's going to keep going forward, and the goodness that you've done for your brain is going to continue. And there may be setbacks what feels like setbacks where you push too hard or whatever, and you have to take a few days to rest, but you're not undoing what you've done. So don't stress about that. It's not, you can't undo it, right? Do you have anything to add to that, Kaylee?
Yeah, it's kind of virtually impossible unless there's some sort of intense injury that occurs, and it would have to be pretty intense. It's not something to be worried about. Having a couple bad days or a bad day isn't going to stop. Some people get stressed about their stress levels after going through this treatment program, and that's fair. That's very fair, because we all know that our bodies, if they're under prolonged amounts of intense stress, it's not the healthiest for us. However, that doesn't change the fact that what you have accomplished at Cognitive FX is not undone, nor can it be, because we're creating those neural pathways, which in turn are created. Those hallways are done. They're complete. They're there, right? So being able to understand that concept and go, okay, I put in a ton of work. I know what else to do to keep moving forward here. And I don't need to hold on to these fears that I'm going to undo what I've done, because again, just like you said, it's just not possible. Dr. Allen had some really cool things to say about that. And I believe they have further information on that one on their Cognitive FX blog.
Yeah. And on the topic of re-injury, like if that, that's kind of the way, if you're going to undo it, that's how to do it. And it would have, like Kaylee said, it's not, a small bump to the head is not going to re-injure the whole thing. So, but if you do get re-injured, I just want to reassure people, again, so much more this time than you did the first time. And so going forward, recovery is possible. It's a bummer, and it can feel like a big setback, but it's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. You will be able to get back, and you're in such a better position now because you know what to do right away to help it. And I believe that Cognitive FX has specific protocols in place. So if you have gone through their treatment, you can contact them and they'll help you out. So, and give you some advice. So definitely don't let that fear of re-injury rule you as well. You're in a much better place, and you're going to be okay. So, any other thoughts on that?
Well, I guess I'm living proof of re-injury not being the end of the world. After my first injury was when I went to see CFX and do treatment myself and got introduced to that world. And then probably a year and a half later, I got a second injury that created a whole host of similar symptoms and different symptoms. And I would say it probably took me maybe 2 months to get back what before took me probably a year. So because I had the tools and I had things in hand, I knew what to do. It was familiar, been there, done that type of a thing. That was very comforting for me. I had to remind myself of that often, because you're kind of like, right, this is the worst, all the emotions that go with it. But definitely re-injury is not the end of the world. It's definitely feels like it, and it's okay for it to feel that way for a minute, but then kind of dust yourself off and go, been there, done that. I know what to do.
Yes, I love that. What is it? There's a phrase that I thought is kind of cool. It's like, I've survived all of my worst days so far. I can survive this. So, yeah, no, I love the personal testimonial here. So thanks for sharing that, Kaylee. And speaking of emotions and how influential those are, I want to share something. I guess, I don't know if these are emotions. When we were first starting this and doing the coaching, and I talked to some of the patient care coordinators at Cognitive FX who had brain injuries and had gone through the program and were now working there. And I asked them what advice would they give to people who have had this experience and are about to go home. And the two pieces of advice that they gave were to have patience and hope. Those are key. The patience that it's going to be, there are going to be up days and down days, and it's going to be okay. Just like let it be what it needs to be, and have hope and trust that what you've done for your brain is going to continue to benefit you, and that the results will come. And I really love that perspective. And I know that those emotions sometimes might not feel like they're accessible, but as much as possible, try to focus your heart and mind on that patience, that hope, and gratitude. I know Kaylee has good things to say about gratitude and how effective that is. You want to jump in there?
Yeah.
Say anything.
There's actually some really cool TED Talks, by the way, on gratitude and neurologically how gratitude can help retrain your brain. I think it's called The Power of Gratitude. I can send you the link for that. But essentially, gratitude is huge. I have a quote that is on my own wall at home that it says, recognizing what you have increases what you have. And that's always true. And then there's another quote I have that says, I'm grateful for this moment. And both of those things help twofold for me, right? But gratitude itself is powerful. Simply saying I'm grateful for this, this, and this, at least once a day, helps to shift your brain and helps things to become a little bit lighter and a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more breathable. I'd say gratitude has probably been at the pivot point of almost every one of my turning points in life. And I know that there's a lot of other people that would agree with that. And yeah, I can't ever say enough about it. It's such a simple thing and we all forget to do it, but that gratitude can help shift anybody that's stuck in anything. So
yeah, it is very, very powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And along with that, I think is celebrating the wins along the way, recognizing and seeing them and being grateful for them and celebrating them. Like, even if it's, hey, I got through half the day without needing to take a rest or whatever, like I'm doing better. And we're gonna talk more about rest, and it's okay if you need to take rest. But I'm just saying, like, if you notice that you're having more energy, you're not as fatigued, you're doing better, like recognize that and be excited. It's okay to see it and name it and be happy about it. And sometimes I've had a lot of patients say this, that sometimes it's very helpful to have somebody outside of them point out to them the wins that they're experiencing, because they don't always necessarily see it themselves. But other, your family, your loved ones, your support network, sometimes they'll see the progress that you're making before you do, and they'll be able to help you see that. And that's helpful. Any thoughts on that?
I was just smiling. It reminded me, if you ever want to really just boost somebody's day, like a loved one, like my favorite, I watched this couple do this, and basically person be like, hey, did you get out of bed this morning? They're like, yeah. And you're like, oh my goodness, you are doing so well. Check you out. Or they're like, are you breathing currently? Did you just blink? Whoa, right? Because really, truly, those tiny little things you learn to become so grateful for and not take for granted as often when you are going through a type of injury or a shift in your world. So even if it's as simple as, I remember to drink water this morning, or I have hair, like it can be something so simple, and it will still produce that same result for your brain of, oh, okay, maybe we can move forward here. Anyways.
I love that. The small may not be that small. That's good. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes I've heard family members say, like, I see your eyes are more alert. Like you just look like you're here more, or you're able to come up with words better. Like there's small things that you might not recognize in yourself right away, but family and loved ones can help point that out, and that can be helpful. Okay. I want to chat really quickly about how to deal with bad days because those come up. What are your thoughts on that? Kaylee, I'll let you go first on this one.
First of all, it's okay. I think allowing yourself to have a bad day is sometimes the key to letting it kind of flow, do what your body needs to do, and move on. One of the biggest things is working on understanding that your nervous system and that your body is actually working for you. So having a bad day is recognizing, oh, okay, I must need to rest right now. I'm going to do some resting. And then when I get up and I'm feeling a little bit better, I'm going to kind of ponder, okay, I don't think I took the breaks I needed to take the day before. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a couple more breaks. So kind of that allowing and acceptance that, okay, this has been rough. And I want to say that it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel all the feelings you might feel on a bad day, because it's just a day, or it's just a moment, and those moments pass too. And just kind of, that allowance and acceptance is going to actually help boost you even more forward. One of my favorite things is talking with people about, wow, you're like, when you're having a bad day, that means that there's good days ahead, right? Rather than waiting for another bad day to come, you're looking forward to the good days ahead and the sunrise that's coming, right? That type of thing. I know there's a couple of things that you'll probably bring up, so I'll let you think those.
Yeah, no, I love everything that you just said. And I think it's so important to, give yourself grace. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. And if you're feeling like you're having a bad day and those symptoms are coming up, that's a thing that's happening in the world, in your body. We don't always have control. When the symptoms are hitting, we don't have control in that moment to necessarily make them go away. There are things we can do that can help for sure. But again, if the day is just feeling out of control and overwhelming, that's when it's most important to just pull in a whole lot of self-compassion and grace for yourself and let yourself feel what you need to feel. Don't push away those feelings. Like Kaylee said, if it's okay to be angry, to be upset, to be frustrated, to be annoyed, like those are all very understandable. So let them be there, but then recognize and tune yourself to looking forward and ahead. So, but I like this analogy, and I've probably shared it on here before. You've probably heard it. It really, really resonates with me. But when we have these emotions that come up that we don't want to feel, resisting them is kind of like, imagine the emotions were a beach ball and you're like pushing it under the water. If you're having this emotion, pushing it under the water, like, nope, I don't want to feel you. I don't have time for you. I can't do this right now. The more we resist things, the more they persist. And so if you're pushing it down, that requires like all of your energy, both hands, all your concentration. You're like trying to ignore and push this thing away. And we all know that the further down you push it under the water, the harder it's going to come up when it does hit you in the face. So rather than pushing those away, imagine just allowing that ball of emotions to just hang out with you in the water. Just let it float next to you. And eventually it'll just kind of float away, and it may come back with another wave. And that's okay. If you're not afraid of it and pushing it away, then it's not going to have control over you, and it's not going to take all of your energy and emotions and concentration. And so I think that is really key. And this is something that I'm realizing I have to tell myself too. So we're all humans are in this boat. Just remember that when there's a hard day, when there's something that's challenging, it's okay to let it be hard. And then if you're not afraid of that negative emotion and that challenge, then it doesn't stick around. And I think it can be helpful. I like this thought. Not everybody probably will agree with it or want to take it on, and that's okay. But I like to believe that I'll be given the knowledge of what I need to do when the time is right for me to know it. And that might not always be when I want it to be, but information, not like understanding of things that can help, things like people and education opportunities and things will come into your path when the time is right and when you need them. And I think having that trust. And something else that I've learned from talking to a lot of different patients that I really, really love and think is powerful is the concept of purpose in this. Like even in the hard days, like if you can believe that there's a purpose to it, even though you might not necessarily know what that purpose is, that just makes doing hard things so much more doable. I guess if you believe that there is a higher purpose or whatever that gives meaning to these hard things, then it's that much more bearable. Any thoughts on that, Kaylee?
No, it's very true. Having resources, like I know we want to talk a little bit about support system. So having somebody in your corner that can be like, hey, it's okay. Learning to have some of that self-soothing within yourself as you are able to. Sometimes injury doesn't quite allow for that until a certain point in recovery. And then also having I often talk to people about having a form of higher power, whether that higher power is within themselves or God or the earth, like whatever their higher power is, have that higher power, that goodness, that the universe is working for you. One of my favorite quotes is that whether the world is working for you or against you, you're right. And that also pertains to how you pick yourself back up and dust off from the bad days. and moving forward from there.
Thank you. And I think it's also important to remember that you are not your symptoms. You are not your brain injury. Like, this is a thing that has happened and you are experiencing it, but it doesn't define you. And that's, I think that's an important thing to remember. And there are things that you can do in the moment, and we won't go into all of them because there's so many, but maybe just a couple of things that you can do when you're feeling it and you're having a bad day. What can help people to de-stim, Kaylee? What are some general principles that can be helpful for people?
One of the most simple tools that I'm so grateful I learned from smart people is just nasal breathing. Honestly, closing your mouth and nasal breathing throughout your day, you'll start to notice a sense of calm. Gargling water, that helps to stimulate the vagus nerve, which in turn can help promote that sense of calm as well. Listening to brain waves or binaural beats, some type of brainwaves app that sends signals to your brain through hearing to say, hey, time to calm down. One of my favorites is music. Depending upon where you're at in your recovery, might depend upon what type of music you can enjoy or you find soothing. So finding some of those things that help you. Weighted blankets, any type of meditation, mindfulness type of activity. Yeah, there's kind of no end to de-stim tools, but those are a few.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And on the topic of music, I'll just throw this out here. In a recent episode, I was interviewing someone who had not gone through cognitive effects. And one of the things that he found that was very soothing for him was listening to Handel's water music. Specifically that he said that had an impact on his brain that just like really helped to de-stimulate his system. And I thought that was really cool. So throw that out there here as well. And the mindfulness tools, it is so powerful when your system or your brain is like stressing out and feeling so overwhelmed. A lot of times it can trigger thoughts that kind of go all over the place into like the past, like, oh my gosh, this was terrible. I can't believe this happened to me. Why? Right? Like, it can go into really negative thinking about the past, and then fear and worry and anxiety about the future. Like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? If I can't do this today, I'm never going to be able to do it. Like all of these like overwhelming, super scary and out of our control thoughts, and our attention is based on those. And if we can bring our awareness to the present moment, like almost always, usually when we come into this moment, like we're okay. Like right now, it's okay. I'm not in immediate danger. I'm not dying. Like I'm okay. Most of the time that is the case. And so when we can bring ourselves back into the present moment and breathe and calm ourselves, that really is calming and helpful. And it also, like, a really good way to do that and bring our minds into the present is to practice that mindfulness. It's going into our body, and because our body can't be in the past or the future, it is right now. And so the breathing, paying attention to your breath in the moment through your nose, that can be really helpful. And then I had a patient once when I was working in a skilled nursing facility. She had broken her back, and so she had a lot of pain going on. She shared one of the things that helped her the most, which I thought was so fascinating, was this mindfulness practice. And she would just go through her 5 senses and sorry, my brain is like, oh, there's more than 5 senses technically, and that's okay. But the classic 5 senses, right? Like your sight, your hearing, your smell, your taste, and touch. And she would go through and just like think of things in each of those categories, and it would bring her into her present moment. And she said that it really, really helped with her pain from a broken back, which was cool. And I know that it helps with emotional pain and anxiety and like all of the other things. Like it can help ground us. So yeah. I can't give advice to people who are suffering from concussions without mentioning mindfulness, because I'm going to throw this out there too. It not only helps with that emotional regulation and de-stimming and all of that like nervous system piece, but it also, the more we practice mindfulness, the better we get at some of the executive functioning skills like focus and concentration, memory. It's really good to do. So huge plug for mindfulness. Just throwing that out there.
Amen.
Thank you. Let's talk really quickly about the home exercise program. I know not everybody will have this who's listening to this, but for those who have gone through the EPIC treatment or who are trying to do some kind of routine that they're establishing, what advice do we have for people trying to do that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is commonly people will say, I either need to do all of it, and if I'm not doing all of it, then I'm not going to do any of it. And one of my favorite ways to kind of combat that is through thinking it's about consistency more than it is about perfection, and being able to kind of create a sense of, okay, I've woken up and as far as recovery goes, right? I'm feeling I'm struggling today. Then, okay, I'm going to just focus on breathing, and I'm going to make sure I eat 3 meals a day today. And those are going to be my goals, and water, right? Like making sure that you're still on the track, even if it's like a slower pace, because you're still on the track. And that could go for New Year's resolutions. That could go for anyone
Right.
doing anything. Everybody has to create some form of routine or pattern in their lives to accomplish what they're hoping to accomplish. And recognizing that it's just about staying on the track, not necessarily how fast you're moving.
Yeah, so good. And I like to tell people some is better than none. So it is like, if you're, you're supposed to do your Brock string exercise today, and you don't want to, you can do it only for 1 minute instead of I think we usually only say like 1 to 3 minutes, but we say to do that 1 to 3 times a day. So if you can only do it one time a day in that day for 1 minute, that's okay. Or if you forego that, but you still do your vestibular exercises, like it's okay if you're not doing all of the things all of the time. And that is really important, because that all or nothing thinking can really stymie us. It can stop our progress entirely. So some is better than none, and being on the track, doing something is important. And I like what you said too, like creating habits and routines. If you can do it consistently, or if all right, this week, this is when I'm going to have time, and like plan it ahead of time, know when you're going to do it, then it's a lot easier than if you're just like, oh, I'm going to throw it in at some point and hope that it gets done in the day, because then it doesn't get done in the day. And setting timers can be really helpful, and tapping into your resources. So if you have, and we'll talk about this in a second, but yeah, if you have a support system, if you have somebody who can help remind you in a good way that you're not going to feel nagged with, but yeah, finding the ways that you can get that accountability or help. And a huge part of this, and this is something that we do in the program that we offer, the coaching programs, is to help people establish their routines and be that accountability partner, but also really help them to figure out and realize that how you think about your goals has a bigger impact on whether you accomplish them than like having all of the ideas in place of what to do. It really, the higher the source behind the push forward to do things is the thoughts that we're thinking. And if we're thinking, I have to do this or I'm never going to get better, like that kind of fear-driven thought isn't always motivating enough, especially long term. But if you're, if it's like, okay, I'm committed to doing this, I'm going to do this, just like I pick up my kids every day after school, whether I feel like it or not. I'm going to commit to doing this. I'm going to do it whether I feel like it or not. Those kinds of thoughts can be helpful. So anyway, that's just a plug for the program that we offer as well. We can talk more about that at the end as well. And then one more thing with the home exercise program, and specific for people who've gone through EPIC treatment, is the whole point of that program, and I imagine other programs out there, is for you to get back into your life. The point isn't to recreate the exercise, like the whole program that you went to for an intensive week or two at home. The point is live your life, and we want you to do that. And so it's okay to start, pushing yourself a little bit to try to do those activities that were so overwhelming and you weren't able to do them before. And the advice is just to baby step your way into it. If you're last week we had somebody ask about going to a football game, something that was important to their loved one who had a brain injury, and they were wondering if that was something that they could try again. And my advice was, yeah, let's go for it. Like, see how he's doing, like take some rest after the initial treatment, and then like start baby stepping in. So like, okay, I'm going to plan on going, and I'm going to go for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to go back and hang out in the car and try to de-stim and see how I'm feeling, check in with myself. And then if you're doing well, go for another 10, 15 minutes, like see what you can do. If that was enough and you're done, then that's okay. For next time you can do at least 10 minutes, and then we'll up it the following time or whatever. So it's important to let yourself work back towards doing the things that you love. Any other comments on that, Kaylee?
No, that's a huge part of recovery, like mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right, is getting to a place where you feel like you can start to breathe and live a little bit more. That's what it's about. So even if it's something simple, right? Start off with, if you love to cook and you haven't been able to, then maybe start by helping plan the meals, right? Or I think it'd be really fun if this was a thing, and I bet I could fill the cups with water, and then I would need a break for a minute, right? So just finding, again, just those small and simple things to start off with, because it is about living life and getting to the place where you'd like to be able to do the things that you would like to do or need to do.
And sometimes those things might be different than they were before, and that's okay too. Some people are like, I'm just not going to go back to the sport that I was doing before. I just don't think that that's wise. I don't want to. And that's okay. And it's okay to grieve that. And then it's okay and really good to find what you are passionate about. And I've talked to so many people who've come through this and found something that they're way more passionate about that they never would have found if it wasn't for this experience that they've had. And so, or skills that they didn't realize that they had, that are very fulfilling to them. So be open, be open and find the things that you love and that bring joy. Okay. And let's talk about support system next. I'll let you go. Ready, go. Support system. Kaylee, how about it?
Obviously every person's going to be a little bit different as far as what they need for support. Some people have a goal that they want to be able to support themselves through recovery, right? Or that's just where they're at. They don't have many people to help them. And then there are people who have lots of people around them, but really don't want to let people in. So being able to find the balance there, recognizing that your loved ones, the people around you who see you struggling, they want to help. And probably one of the hardest things for them is to watch their loved one go through something that they can't comprehend, don't understand, and have no clue how to help. So creating ways to allow them to help you not only brings relief for you, but it brings relief for them. In turn, by actually allowing somebody in to help you, you're actually relieving burdens, which is people often don't think of it that way, but that pretty much is reality. Now, then it gets to the point of, okay, well, I'm recognizing I need more help. I need rides. I need this. And I think my one support is getting burnt out, right? So being able to plan and ask different people, say, hey, good friend, I am needing a ride. Is there any chance you might be able to help me with that? Or, hey, person that is a part of my community, right? So one of my favorite quotes there's a lot of things I learned from, it's called neurolinguistic programming, but one thing that was often mentioned was that you have a lot more resources than you ever could imagine. And it's a matter of just being open to those resources. So however that support needs to come, I don't know about you, but I always encourage people to at least have 1-2 people, if not a few more, that they could talk to, turn to, be able to talk, trust, and feel. And even if it's just that, or have help with different things.
Yeah. So important. And something a lot of times we get to talk to people who are the support person. Sometimes the mother or father or spouse, child, somebody else, close friend, right, is there at the clinic helping the person through that week. And so we've heard questions that they've asked, and I think Kaylee's exactly right. I think it's very, very challenging to see someone that you love going through something so hard and knowing that you just don't know what to do to help them. And sometimes the best thing that people need is for you to leave them alone for a little bit and not ask them questions, not ask them because that makes them think and have to come up with answers, and just to provide a food for them and then let them be. That might be the most helpful thing you can do. Sometimes they do want you to be with them, and it's just being with them, not talking or having to try to solve the problems, just letting them know that you're there. And something that has come up a lot is, I think, something that people can do if they are a friend, a loved one who wants to support this person, is to believe them, even if the things that they're saying sound crazy. or don't make sense. Like how you hit your head. Why are you sweating right now? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like that doesn't compute. Just believe that the things that they're experiencing are real and love them. I think that's, believe them, be there with them and love them. You don't have to solve all of their problems, and you're not going to be able to. And even if, even if all of the problems were solvable by other people, it's not all on you. There's, like we were just saying, there's support systems. There are people who know and who can help. And sometimes we offer a specific thing and somebody else offers something else, and that's okay. And then I think it is really, really important as the support person to take care of your own emotions. This is something that gets brought up all the time when I have conversations with people and do these interviews for the podcast of, what the support person can do. Almost everybody says, take care of yourself. Because if you can't pour from an empty cup, if you're so obsessed or like focused on this other person and giving and not taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to do that. You are important too, and you matter. So it's okay if you need to have boundaries for yourself as well. Like it's okay to take care of you as well. So any other thoughts on that topic, Kaylee?
No, I 1,000,000% agree. Sometimes you feel like it's the last thing to do that you want to do is take care of yourself because somebody else seems to be struggling even more. But in actuality, by helping yourself, you're helping them as well, right? So there are often those little lies that we tell ourselves that we go, well, this has got to be true. And that's one of those that people tend to go to is, well, if I take the time to help me, that's actually selfish. I want to just help them, right? When the reality is, again, by helping you, you are helping them. Kind of like the age old, when they talk about when you're in an airplane and it's going down, you should first put the mask on yourself and then put it on the person next to you, help the people next to you. So,
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay to take care of you. All right. So let's chat for a second about the importance of rest. I have a lot to say on this, but I'll let you go first. Go ahead, Kaylee. Tell us about rest.
Rest. Love it. Oftentimes people don't have a very good relationship when it comes to breaks and resting. So learning to kind of recognize a break is a good thing. It's a trial and error thing as well, just like the rest of life is. So rest is so important because what it does for you, particularly when you are a survivor of a type of injury that impacts your brain or your nervous system, when you rest in the best kind of ways, it actually will cement in all of your hard work that you are putting together, all of the neural pathways you're building, all of the things you're learning and progressing in. When you have proper rest, again, it will kind of solidify and let those things sink in so that then you are able to wake up and move forward. So that is resting is huge for recovery. You can't, I dare say, I don't know that you can actually really recover unless you're resting. You are doing some form of resting. For every person, it's going to look a little different because everybody's in a different type of recovery, essentially, different stage of recovery. But it's huge, and that's something that we help a lot with in the program as well. And I have a big passion for working on that as well. But I'll let you take that.
Yeah, thank you. I think a lot of times people want to know what to do to get better. And they ask me like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And we give them a lot of things to do. There's a lot that you can do, but that rest part. So we talk about the PAR cycle, cognitive effects, the prepare, activate, recover. That recover piece sometimes feels like not doing. The rest is like, well, I'm not doing anything then. And so it tends to be the thing that gets pushed aside and I don't have time for that or whatever. Right. And it breaks my heart because it really is, like Kaylee was saying, it is key. It's what creates the space that allows all the things that you're doing to take root and take hold. And so it really is key and vital. And I just beg people to not ignore that part of recovery. The rest is important. And that doesn't necessarily mean sleep. Like you don't have to take a nap every time you're feeling like you need a break, but a rest could be, again, like those de-stim activities of doing some mindfulness, doing brain waves, going on a calming walk, outside, just like getting a little break away from all of the things and allowing your brain and body to calm and relax. And it really is key. And I don't know, like Kaylee mentioned, it's something that we go into in depth with people to help them recognize and understand what their nervous system, their body is telling them, and how to recognize when they need to take rest breaks and when to push through. And creating kind of a gauge system. Do you have any like high level, like overall kind of pointers on that, Kaylee, that you'd like to share with people for recognizing when to take rest breaks and creating a gauge system for themselves?
Yeah, actually, most people who are going through recovery have a key symptom. It's kind of a key symptom that lets them know when it's like, oh, I have overdone it, or I am about to overdo it. Every person's a little bit different. For one person, it could be ringing in the ears. For another person, it could be emotional dysregulation that gets to a point that you go, oh, something's wrong. Oh, okay. I need to shift this. I need to shift my sails a little bit, so to speak, right? So kind of finding that key symptom and honing in on it. And then learning to become more proactive rather than reactive towards your symptoms. So the being proactive really is a game changer, because it's for all the reasons that you're thinking of. Proactivity is always great when it comes to rest and recovery.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you. And okay, this is kind of random, but it just came to my mind. I want to share this. And I feel like this is an important message for people to hear. I gave a lesson in church yesterday, and this came up as I was preparing for it. And something that I've learned through coaching and in my work as an occupational therapist, and just I'm a huge like nerd about the brain. I like always want to learn all the things that I can. And in all of the studying and all the things that I've done and the interactions that I've had with people, I've discovered this is not anything new, but I believe it from all of this experience that there are some core foundational things that humans, all of us, really want and need. And that is to feel safe and loved and valued and like we matter. Sorry, I'm getting emotional about this. And we crave connection and belonging. And this is like just standard across the board. And I think it's supposed to be that way. And we all need that. And it's true for whether you've had a brain injury or not. It's important to know that you do matter. And it's your recovery matters. You have things to contribute to the world.
You're great.
And all of thanks. All of the problems, seriously, it's crazy, but pretty much every single problem that people experience in their lives, when we like dig down and down and down and get to the root of it, it is a perceived lack of one of those things, a lack of safety or feeling loved and valued, or lack of connection and belonging. And that it's ubiquitous and so important to just know that you're not alone. You do matter. Your recovery matters. And even if you didn't recover, quote unquote, recover as you are right now, you are loved, you are valued, you are worthy of all of the goodness in the world. And it's okay to take care of yourself and to seek that connection and that help. I just feel like that's something that needs to be said, that people need to hear that. And especially people who are struggling so hard and feeling so lost, because that happens with this injury. I'm ridiculous. Sorry. Okay. Kaylee, do you want to tell people about, well, actually, before I was going to say, let's talk about the program that we offer, because I think I want people to know about it. Like there's more help available if you need extra help for the support on the support end. This is what we do. We love sharing with people and helping people. And we've seen it be very, very helpful for people, which is very rewarding and very fulfilling and wonderful. So, but before we tell people about the program, is there anything that I missed? Anything that we talk to people about, the questions that people have that I didn't think about that you want to make sure we talk about?
Well, first off, thanks for sharing that. That's huge. Getting to the core or reason why things happen sometimes is huge and important and needs to be addressed. Just like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast as well, just that there's more community around you and that there's a lot of support. And if you think about it, brain injury or not, whether you're part of a certain club or not, right? You wear glasses, you don't. You sleep well, you don't. Whatever club you find yourself in, it's not exclusive. No one person understands the person next to them perfectly. Oftentimes we just desire for somebody to understand us and get where we're coming from. And yes, we can come close, right? In the sense of, yeah, I had an injury that sucked. Whoa, you experienced the same thing? Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And you feel that like camaraderie, you feel that understanding. But it's important to understand that most of the time it's about accepting, right? Like, and again, that belief, whether it's believing your own inner monologue going on, or somebody else telling you about their story and what they're experiencing, saying, wow, I'm so sorry you went through that. I love you. So whether that's for yourself, looking in the mirror, or for somebody around you, I guess I just want to encourage everybody to do that for somebody, wherever you are. Anyways, but the program itself that we go through, that we do, it's awesome. I know we both love it, but this program is, we developed it specifically for anyone in recovery from the Cognitive FX program. But this program is also good for anyone working through their own recovery program. So this is built to help with getting that routine, your home exercise program, what your dreams are there, what you're wanting to accomplish. We help you with those goals and getting to where you need to be to accomplish them. And then that's through various means, right? Through helping you with those recovery breaks, those rest breaks, with a gauge system, knowing when to stop, when to start, with handling some of the mental and emotional blocks. There's a lot that can come up through recovery, and that's normal too. And having somebody to work through that with you is crucial and important. Learning how to create that safety within and how you want to contribute to the world. Well, we also help with that, with kind of exploring those types of things. So there's a lot we do in the program. I can't remember if I said this, but it's typically 6 sessions. It's all over Zoom, and you get to work with both Bethany and me. Yes, best of both worlds, which is actually really cool. So, you start off with Bethany, and then we just go back to back. Like Bethany, then Kaylee, Bethany, then Kaylee.
Yep. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, we would love to help you. If this sounds like something that would be useful for you, please hit us up. I will put the link for signing up for a free consultation in the show notes as well, because you can't, we offer a free consultation as well. So you can come and chat with us, see if what we offer is going to be useful for you, but you can also come with questions. If you're hearing this and are like, oh, that might be something that would be useful for me, please hit us up. We're here to help. We want to help people out. And I feel like we have a unique perspective on this injury and ways that can be legitimately helpful in recovery from it. And recovery is possible. We want that hope and knowledge to be put out there. So I will put that in there. And just one last little thing I wanted to point out that I didn't say before when I was talking about feeling safe, feeling like we matter. A really good way to tap into that is to tap into your higher power. Like Kaylee was saying before, that connection to a greater being, God, universe, whatever it is, like connect in there. And that's where you're going to really find those answers and find that comfort. So I guess we'll just leave you with that. And thanks for being with us today, and reach out if you have any questions. Our program, like Kaylee said, is for people who've done the Cognitive FX program, but it will be genuinely helpful for really anybody who's suffering with a brain injury. So we would love to chat. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, Kaylee.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad you listened in today. I hope you have gained some helpful insights and inspiration regarding dealing with and recovering from concussions. My goal is to create more awareness and education about concussions and the fact that there is so much that can be done to improve life after someone has had one. Help me spread the message by liking, commenting, rating, and subscribing to this podcast, and share it with others who would benefit from hearing it. There are more resources available on my website. And again, if you or someone you love would benefit from concussion coaching, sign up for a free consultation using the link in the show notes or at my website, www.theconcussioncoach.com. Thank you. See you next time, and take good care of that amazing brain of yours.